Due to advances in technology and bioscience, the most efficient ways emerging to treat pain and injury revolve around the nervous system. Using the human body's amazing ability called neuroplasticity, it is now possible to activate increased strength, pain-free movement, and faster healing. This is the Newbie device, a patented electrical stimulation device used for neuromuscular re-education. While conventional treatments for pain and injury only manage symptoms, the Newbie device allows you to work at the source of the problem. Using this approach, 90% of individuals notice meaningful progress in the very first session, and evidence is showing those early results also lead to faster overall recovery from most injuries and surgeries. There's finally help for people having difficulty recovering from injury, living with chronic pain, or experiencing challenging neurological conditions. Ask your doctor or therapist about the Newbie from NeuFit, accessing the power of the nervous system to improve outcomes.
Every day at Permobile, we are helping families battling disabilities throughout the world. Our company was founded under one belief that every person has a right to independence and mobility, and that idea is as strong today as it's ever been. Our passion goes into building wheelchairs and complex rehabilitation accessories so that every product is customized for every individual's needs. We are so passionate about giving back to organizations such as Team Luke Hope for Minds that in 2017 we started the Permobile Foundation so that individuals can live a life without limitations. The Permobile Foundation helps them by sponsoring fundraising events, by building accessible playgrounds, and by providing donations such as equipment so that these individuals have access to their independence and mobility. Permobile and the Permobile Foundation are honored to partner with Team Luke Hope for Minds in their efforts to support families and children battling brain injury.
Hi, I'm Barbara Bush. I am the president of Solutions for Special Needs Families. I started this about 3.5 years ago. Prior to that, I was the director of admissions at Marbridge Foundation for 8.5 years. And prior to that, for 15 years, I was a legal assistant doing estate planning and probate. So as we get older, we see all that made me who I am today. All that knowledge has helped me now talking to families and understanding and asking questions. I mean, I can ask you a question about a trust, I could ask you a question about guardianship. I can't do it. I just know enough to ask or point you to somebody that could do it. So, and my goal in this whole thing is obviously making myself a living, but educating parents, knowing choices, knowing what's out there. And I'm smart enough to know when I can't help you. I mean, if you come up with a question, I'm going, let me find out somebody that could, because we all can't know everything. So we're going to talk now about what happens the day your child turns 18. So now your child is considered an adult. An adult child must give the parent a permission to attend an IEP, ARD, any of the school meetings. Your child must give you permission to talk to insurance companies, doctors, hospitals. As far as the doctors are concerned, if you're not there, they're going to ask your child about a medical condition. You know, what's your history? Do you think we should go ahead and operate? Well, most of the people I work with couldn't answer that question, with confidence. Legally, the parents can't decide where the child can live, how to spend money, or make any medical decisions. So what do you do if your child can't do those things? What are your options? So these are some of the things you need to ask yourself as a parent, because nobody can tell you. Nobody can say, you need guardianship. It may not be right. So ask yourself, can my adult child understand and make their own health care decisions? Do they understand budgeting money, paying their bills, using a credit card? A lot of neurotypical teenagers don't know how to budget money and use a credit card. So, juggle that one to see, because parents look at their child in the best light. Oh, I think they're going to get better, and I think this is going to work, and we'll just give them a credit card to figure it out. So those are questions you need to understand. The other is, could they understand a legal contract? Could they read that legalese and understand when they sign their name, what they're signing their name to? What about voting, driving, getting married? So if they sign an apartment lease, do they understand all that fine print? That they're really obligated to pay rent every month? And these are all personal family questions. So here are some of your options. And I'm going to start with the top right. Guardianship of the person. Now, it's easier to get guardianship of the person because it's easier to say, look, the doctor says this person is incapable of getting around, making medical decisions, taking care of themselves. So that's kind of a limited guardianship, just of the person. Because if they don't have an estate, if they have no money, yes, they're getting $794, but you're going to be the representative payee anyway, you might not need to go for that full guardianship for the estate. And correct me if I'm wrong, but if an accident happened and a settlement came, you could go back to the court to get the guardianship of the estate.
Well, normally, if they're disabled to the point that they need a guardianship of the person, the money would have to be in a trust of
Right,
some
right.
sort. So there wouldn't be
Still wouldn't be an estate.
The estate would be what that person owned individually, and they wouldn't own anything individually.
Okay, thank you.
Right,
You're
yeah,
welcome.
that's,
I'm sorry?
that does make sense. I mean, if they need a guardian, an 18-year-old needs a guardian, then they couldn't have any of this other, right?
They
Right.
could have inherited from grandparents or something. But hopefully they're
Oh,
knowledgeable
yeah.
enough, or even their own, one of their parents.
Yeah.
Can-
Hopefully they knew
can
enough
move
to
that.
do a third party
Yes.
special needs trust to where they don't have an estate.
So then there's a limited guardianship, and that would be not necessarily really even for your kids, but maybe it's for a grown-up that for a limited amount of time they're unconscious, but you still need to pay bills, and you go to the court and you say, we need this limited guardianship till they can make their own decisions. If you don't go the guardianship route, then you've got a medical or financial power of attorney. Now, a medical power of attorney has a lower level of competency than a lot of other legal documents. Financial power has a higher competency level. You have to sign that before a notary. The medical power of attorney is from witnesses, but those are options. Those you don't have to go before a court. Supported decision-making agreement. That's if you and your child get along and you two say, well, together we're going to make these decisions. You're going to talk to me, I'll talk to you, and together we'll make this decision. Now, if you don't get along, that's not going to mean a thing, because they still have the right to say, go jump a creek, and you may need to go to something more like a guardianship. Because I think even with a medical power of attorney, if they do not agree and they voice it loud enough.
Well, So if you have a guardianship, say,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because they're disabled, I mean, that covers pretty much your everything. I mean, because, right,
Mhm.
I mean,
Right.
I
That-
wouldn't be getting guardianship of my brain injured 18-year-old son and then have to go get a medical power of attorney
No.
and financial power.
No,
I mean,
no, because
once-
that trumps
that trumps everything.
everything.
Okay, in every state.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, the one thing where you say state, if you move from Texas to Arizona, you do need to transfer the guardianship to where you're now living.
Like if we move from Arkansas back to Texas.
Correct.
Do the Texas, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Every state, just.
Right.
Different.
Okay.
Because
It would be a conservator instead of a guardian. They have a different name in there.
it could.
Some states.
Yes, it could in some
Oh,
states.
But it's the same, I
Sa-
mean, you're
same-
100% responsible for
Right.
that child, okay.
Yeah.
And generally, what's, like, his, like, the father, I mean, we're not married and.
Mhm,
but-
mhm.
I mean, you just get one guardian, you don't share guardianship.
You can share guardianship if you're married,
Okay.
between
But
husband and
not
wife.
if-
No,
okay.
not brother and sister, any of
Not
that.
a wife and ex-wife, mom, dad.
No.
Hey, there's no way he could fight,
No.
I mean, because he would, so,
Yeah,
that's, okay.
right. So, and that's what your attorney, because you'll,
Yeah,
Let's-
I have, yeah.
so if you choose guardianship, so this is going to be your process. So you engage the service of an attorney who files the application for guardianship with the court. A doctor must evaluate, and now your child's considered a ward. I didn't like that word, but
Yep.
it is what it
Until
is.
it's decided, they're,
A ward of the court. So, huh?
He's under guardianship.
Yeah. And so that doctor must certify that they're incapacitated, that they're not capable of physically or mentally handling their medical decisions, their living arrangements, whatever. Now, again, you could have that guardianship where it is saying, but I think he's high enough functioning he could get married. Or I think he's high enough functioning that he could drive. So you could put that in if you want it. Just know that that's a
or we can
possibility.
always go back and change, maybe, depending on.
Yeah, it's harder to change, but
Is it?
yes. Because then you have to prove to the court that he has changed and
Because with brain injuries,
true.
well, I mean, they all
change, but
change, I mean, yeah.
but there is a certain level that some of them will never get 100% back. So anyway, then the proposed ward must personally be served papers. Other interested persons, such as relatives, must also be served. So in your case, his dad would have to be served. And then the courts appoint an attorney ad litem. And that attorney is for the child to make sure this is in the best interest of the child and to make sure, too, you don't have other heirs that you're, not talking about. And so you, the proposed ward, your attorneys, and the ad litem all appear in court to testify to the judge why you need this guardianship. Now, some counties, like Williamson County, they do it in the judge's office. Judge Herman does it in a courtroom. So all attorneys are different. I mean, all counties are different.
Yeah.
So when you're appointed, then within the first 20 days of appointment, you must sign under oath your duties, that you're going to do your duties. You have to post a bond with the court. Then the clerk will issue you letters of guardianship, and they'll have a seal on that. Now, that letter of guardianship is only good for 16 months. Then you have to go back, file a report with the court, post another bond, and get new letters.
That's after they turn 18?
Yeah, every 16 months after they turn 18.
Till forever, okay.
Mm-hmm. Now the trick is if you got guardianship in New York, I found this out when I was in Marbridge, it's forever. You don't have to renew it. So all states aren't equal. So just check it out.
It says it's 16.
16 months.
So it has to be renewed every 16 months?
Correct.
For life, I mean,
Right. And it's a short form you fill out. You know, the courts give it to you, asking where they're living, are they okay? Just certain things you can fill out. And then you post, I think it's $100 bond, and then they issue you new letters. So the alternatives to guardianship, as we talked about, is a supported decision-making agreement where you and your child would make decisions together, or there's the powers of attorney. Do you have a question?
No.
Okay. So if your child had SSI prior to 18, you have to apply again at 18. Social Security has 2 different criterias for disability, one for a child, one for an adult. So, I know. When they're 18, that's when you apply for SSI, and SSI and Medicaid are one and the same. Because that's...
If I could add something to that. Before they're 18, the parent's income
is deemed.
counts for their child as
Mm-hmm.
for benefits. But once they're 18, whatever they earn, whatever their income is the only thing that counts.
Correct.
So if they were not eligible for SSI because of the parent's income prior to age 18, they very well may be because they have no income. They're not capable of working.
Mm-hmm.
right.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's good to go and apply for SSI.
Or is that a Medicaid waiver, is that the same thing?
No.
That's all I've applied for.
Well, good. I commend you because you need to apply ASAP.
Yeah, that's what, and she just told me because he's 16, he's on a waiting list
Mhm.
as a child. She said that when he turns 18, he'll be an adult, and it'll be much easier for him to get. I don't think I have to reapply from what.
I don't think you have to reapply. Just call every now and then to make sure everything's
Yeah.
still good. But if
I
you
just now applied.
if you applied today, it'd be 18 years.
For a child.
It doesn't
Oh.
matter before your name comes up, because the legislature, they meet every 2 years. This is the 3rd year in a row they've met and have not passed for any money to go to fund Medicaid waivers. They put it on the wish list,
Is that for a child, Medicaid waiver, a child? No, okay.
just Medicaid waivers. So there's no money for that. So here's the effect of child support on a disabled adult child. So even if it's not any of you, but you know somebody, because divorce is high when you have a special needs child. So at age 18, if the mom or the dad, whoever the custodial parent is still receiving child support, that is deemed the child's money, and they lose Medicaid. Unless all the dad's paying is $750. So what you have to do, you have to get a court order to let the Attorney General know, because usually you pay child support to the Attorney General's office that sends it to the custodial parent. So you get a court order saying, from this day forward, that money is going to go directly into a first-party special needs trust. So there's 2 trusts. A first party is, that is my money. Child support coming to me is my money, and I can put it then into this trust. Money that's inherited is from a third party. It's not a first party. and that goes into a different type of trust. The two big differences are first party trust, Medicaid's your beneficiary. Third party, it's whoever you choose. Okay? So money in that first party trust needs to be spent first if you had money in both. The other thing, well, we'll get to that one. So, SSI or Supplemental Security Income. You can't have resources over $2,000. And I'm talking 2,001 cents. You can't have it.
My son.
Right.
Like a job or something, or what do you mean?
Well, you've got, if he got $794 a month, and then say he got $500 every 2 weeks, we're going to make him working really high, he's not going to be over $2,000 soon. So at the end of the month, on the 30th of the month or 31st, if it's over $2,000, he can lose his eligibility for SSI and Medicaid.
And when he turns 18, child support goes to him? No.
Goes to the first party trust.
That's why you said I needed to, that's why I need to go, he only gets it till he's 18,
Okay.
anyway.
Well, you can do a divorce modification because if he is disabled, the court will easily grant you child support for the rest of his life.
Plus this,
Well, this, yeah, and
but it, yeah,
yes, easily.
okay.
So in order to get for the child support after 18 in the first party trust, I would have to hire a lawyer as
To-
as the planner. Is it the trust fund planner?
Well, definitely an attorney
Yes.
because they have to draw up the legal document. Now, it would be good definitely to have, you know, a financial planner of some sort to help you that understands special needs.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
important.
Yes.
That understands
What all these things are.
So we would have to contact the attorney general.
They-
And then
Right. If you're going to get this first party trust, they can contact the Attorney General. Or it may have to go before a court to.
Can you tell me again what a first party trust is? That's another account solely for the child, disabled
It is
child?
a written document
Uh-huh.
that states it's that person's money that's going
It is
into
that.
the trust.
Okay.
Now, they're going to have a trustee and a trustor. They're the beneficiary until their death.
Like
So you
if
could be the
mom or-
trustee, you could be the trustor, you know, your child's the beneficiary. But upon death, Medicaid is the ultimate beneficiary. Okay, so you must have a severe medical condition that's going to last for 2 years or death. You must be a U.S. citizen or a resident of the U.S. or one territory. Must file for other benefits. And the individual's not working or incapable of earning a substantial wage. A substantial wage is, in 2021, is $1,310 a month. And when it says must file for other benefits, if that child had been working, if you're disabled, if you get 6 credits, you're eligible for Social Security disability on top of SSI. Now, you and I, we work, and the most you can have is 4 credits a year. And I believe it's $1,470 a quarter you have to make. So if you can earn $1,470 in 3 months, the government said you get to have 1 quarter. But you need 40 quarters to actually draw your Social Security benefits. You and I do. If you're disabled, they only need 6 credits. That's 1.5 years of working. And then they are eligible for their own Social Security disability benefits. Okay,
What if they're not able to work?
then it's just SSI.
Okay.
Okay,
So with Social Security disability, you're not limited to the $2,000?
Yes, you are.
Yeah, are you still?
oh yeah, you're
No.
still,
With disability?
well,
What happens is you don't get SSI if you have, if your SSDI is more than
right.
what your SSI payment is.
You're gonna get money from one or the other. But you could get it from both if
Yes.
both is low.
Like
But you still are dealing with Medicaid, the rules of the $2,000 limit.
Yes.
Can you get Medicare with disability?
24 months after you get disability.
But it's the payer of last resort. I think Medicaid, if you're taking Social Security, SSI,
Mm-hmm.
you get Medicaid.
Right,
And
but
if
then,
if you're eligible for both, Medicaid pays first and Medicare pays second, if Medicaid doesn't cover, but Medicaid covers just about everything.
if you can get a doctor to take you.
That's the problem.
Okay, medical insurance. So when you qualify for SSI, you automatically get Medicaid. To remain eligible for Medicaid, you can't have over $2,000 in assets, and you must receive at least $1 from SSI. So, you're approved. Social Security said, well, who's going to be the representative payee? And you go, oh, Johnny's high enough functioning. We're going to let Johnny be his own representative payee. Well, does Johnny know that he has to submit his wages once a month? Does Johnny understand that he can't make more than X amount each month? You know, if not, somebody, with more intellectual that needs to be appointed the representative payee. So if it's mom, in this case, it's Mary Smith as representative payee for John Smith. And that's how your checking account is titled, where Social Security dumps the money in. That money can never go into an ABLE account. It only can go into that account.
An able account, or is
We're going to get to that
Okay.
one too. So if you're a representative payee, you need to understand the rules regarding how money can be spent and understand the rules if you're working. So Social Security puts income into two categories. You have earned income, which is obviously wages, and then food and shelter in lieu of wages. Sometimes they call it in-kind support and maintenance. So if I move in with you, you might expect me to pay you some rent and pay you for food. Otherwise, you're giving me that bonus. Same with your child. If they're not paying you for room and board, Social Security says that's income to that child. Now we'll take a third of your benefit away. We're going to get to how you get over that. I know.
I'm just,
They don't make it easy.
No. Unearned income and Title II benefits are SSDI and something else called RSDI, Retirement Survivor Disability Insurance. And that's what they can get from their parents. VA benefits, interest, allowance, assets, winnings, or child support. That's unearned. They didn't work for those. They just got those benefits. But they still count as income.
I just wondered if, I'm getting child support now, I just don't pay for say till he's 18 or he graduates, whichever comes first.
It's up
So-
to you if you want to go back and,
I don't think I can do it.
well, if you modify it, then you get it for life.
But then it would come from his dad, but he wouldn't get it from the state, or he could get? I thought you said he could just get $2,000 or something.
No.
Or I can't do more than $2,000.
He can't have more than $2,000 in his name. First party trust is not his money.
Okay, that's, it's not in his name. First party trust is not in his name. That's where I misunderstood that. Okay, that would be like in my name.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay. Uh-huh. Okay, so say your child is able to work and they earn $585 gross a month. So the earned income exclusion, they said, you can keep the first $65. We're not going to take that away from you. But we divide the remainder in half, so your countable earnings is $260. Now you're also getting Social Security disability because you've worked so hard for that year and a half. So your unearned income is $200. There's a general income exclusion again that's saying you get to keep the first $20. And then they don't divide it. It's just $200. So I'm showing you all the ways they take money away first. The maximum SSI benefit this year is $794. If you're not paying rent to your parents, they take away $264. So then you only get $530. So you've earned unearned income of $220. You earned working $585. You have your whopping $85 of exclusions. So now your total amount is, well, the total of earned income is $520. Divide that in two is $260. Countable earned income is $200. Maximum amount is $794. Now we're going to subtract that. You're not paying rent. So you do all those adjustments and your whopping SSI payment is $70. Yeah. So think of this as income tax. So you could just pay all your income, all your taxes without taking the exemption they give you or interest off your mortgage or, all these things. You can reduce your tax liability to IRS. Got the same choice here. So how to determine what is in-kind support and maintenance. So this is my assumption, examples. Mom and dad and one sibling. The mortgage is $2,000 a month, and that's including property taxes and insurance. The average monthly bills are $300 for electricity, $100 for water and sewer, and $800 for food. So the total monthly expenses are $3,200 a month. Because you've got 4 people living in the house, you divide that by 4, and your child is supposed to be paying you $800 a month for rent. Now, even if they're getting the maximum, they don't have enough money to pay $800. So that's how an ABLE account comes into play. So after SSI payments received, the representative payee sends $500 to mom in her mom's only account. It's only your name. Your child's not.
First party trust.
No.
No, okay, something
Your
different.
own little savings account.
Okay.
And you're going to nickname it rent. So $500 from the SSI goes to the rent account. So then you've got to put money into the ABLE account. But when that money goes into the ABLE account, it is a complete transfer, meaning now it is his money, your child's money. You're the administrator of that money. So as the administrator, you take $300 out each month and pay to the rent account. And now you have satisfied that $800 rent. Now, it sounds like money laundering, but you take that money out of that rent account and you can put it back into the ABLE account and do it again. I know, it's written.
I don't see
And
nothing
so it's
wrong
written.
with it. I don't understand it.
So there's your matrix. So your special needs child is receiving the SSI amount. Your rent's $800. So the family assets can either, it can go into a special needs trust if you had an extra $10,000 or $15,000. You can only put up to $15,000 a year in the ABLE account. So money can come out of that ABLE account to the rent account. The trust cannot pay for rent. So that's why you need the ABLE account to pay for rent.
It can't pay for rent.
It can? I've been told by many attorneys that it can't.
You pay it into the ABLE account.
Oh, but it can't
Not
pay
rent.
rent to a
You
rental.
have to have about 15 different accounts and you're just switching the money.
Yeah.
It sounds to me like.
Yeah.
Money laundering.
You're just switching each account.
Legally, money laundering.
Okay.
So how's the Social Security going to know this changed? So after you've made these payments and you have a track record, you've got a bank statement that says money's been coming out of the SSI account, money's been coming out of the ABLE account, I have a rental agreement with my son, and then you have to fill out a form 3003 or something. I'm sorry, the number's not there. You send that all to Social Security proving that your son is paying rent.
Every month?
No,
Oh, okay.
but it'll take the Social Security minimum of 2 months to catch it up. If it doesn't happen within 2 months, call them and call them and call them. Okay? Social Security is a little slow on the uptake. And keep copies of everything you ever send to Social Security. And keep a date on when you sent it. Write down, if you spoke to somebody, what their name was and who you talked to. I mean, that is so important. So now what happens when a parent passes away? Your eyes are just glazed over, I'm sorry. So when one of the parents, and this is an important age, your child has to be deemed disabled prior to age 22. Doesn't mean you filed, but you have documentation that prior to age 22, your child was disabled. So at that point, they are connected to the parent's work record. So they're connected to your work record and they're connected to your husband's work record. If he remarries, they're connected to his wife's work record, or you remarry to your husband's work record. This is all good. So when they start drawing Social Security benefits, your child's entitled to 50% of whoever's the highest. So if all four of you retired at the same time, but say your ex-husband made more than you did during life and paid more in, they would pick his, because Social Security has to pay that person the most that they're entitled to. So they get half of that. Doesn't take away from your Social Security benefit. But if it's more than the $794, they're only going to get the financial benefit from the parent. Okay? So we're talking just right now. They would still retain Medicaid, 24 months later, they get Medicare. So they have Medicare, Medicaid, and a higher financial benefit.
Oh, you mean when the disabled person turns the age of retirement, they get, or
When the disabled person's parents reach 67 or 70 and say, I want Social Security, I want you to start paying me now my retirement benefit. Then at that point, say dad's made lots of money and he's getting $3,000 a month. Johnny, who's disabled, gets $1,500 a month. Okay? Now, what happens when dad dies? It goes up to 75%.
plus the SSI?
SSDI or RSDI, Retirement Survivor Disability Insurance.
And the parents don't have to be married. We've been divorced forever.
Right, as long as they're connected to the child.
Yes.
Yeah. Now, the other thing is if you're married 10 years
To someone else, or,
to someone,
oh, okay.
okay, you're married 10 years, you're not remarried, they start drawing their Social Security, you're entitled to 50% of their Social Security,
Whether you're married or not.
whether you're married or not.
Oh, if I was married to him for 10 years, way back when?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then when he dies, you're entitled to 100%.
He'd be
So-
happy about that.
He doesn't
But-
have to know.
but if he
Never
ha-
has to know.
Right, he never has to know because
He'll be dead.
his wife would get the same thing.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. And you apply for all that, or they just do that?
No, you call Social Security. They're not going to come looking for you.
No.
Right, okay.
Okay? So if at 70 years old you didn't apply to get your Social Security benefits, they don't care. You know? It doesn't grow any interest, it doesn't do anything, but they're not going to come looking for you.
And the attorney that would, because I have one, and they know all the people the attorneys that
Should.
specialize in it, yeah.
Should. Yes, should. Unfortunately, I just dealt with an attorney that was messy. Sister's doing her best interest. Her disabled sister, she fought to get all of the RSDI from the parents, got a huge lump sum from back that they owed her of $116,000. She wanted to make sure it was protected, so she takes $96,000 and puts it in her name. And we're all going, no, you need a first-party trust. So she puts her $36,000 in it, and her attorney says, oh, you can take that money out of your name and put it in the first-party trust. I'm going, no, it is your name. It's not in your sister's name.
It's important you have an attorney that knows.
Knows it, and he swore he knew it. So anyway, just be sure. What happens when a parent receives SSDI? If they're disabled and the child's disabled, they get half. Okay? And now here's a sad one, is if the parent's disabled or if the parent dies prior to age 18 and that child's getting half or 75%, if it's more than the $794, they're not eligible for Medicaid, period, end of story. So if you're on the waiver list, you can't get it.
If
You're
Someone
receiving, so I had a client that her parent died and she was getting $1,500 a month. Well,
the
that was,
disabled child was, and her mom died.
her dad died. Mom said, well, why can't my child be on that get HCS? I said, well, she doesn't have Medicaid and her income limit's too high. So the only thing we could do was get her on the Star Plus waiver Medicaid. She gets some benefits. She's still on the list, but she's now able to get HCS if her name comes up, if.
And this is under 18.
Oh, yeah, she was under 8. She was 15 when her dad died. And we don't have any, you just can't predict that. So, okay. So Medicaid. So your parent retires, you retire, your child's now getting $1,500 a month, half of yours. Medicaid said, hey, you're getting too much money. We're going to cut off your Medicaid. And you go, no, you can't do that. You can take away my Social Security benefit, but you can't take away my Medicaid. Well, they have written in the POMS, the Policy Operations Manual for Social Security, this provision that says, in non-legalese, if you were entitled to SSI and Medicaid prior to your parents retiring, then you're still entitled to Medicaid after your parents retire and you receive benefits from them. So there's your provision. You'd have to file an H-1200-EZ, and it's a Medicaid, Texas Health and Human Services form. Attach that provision to it and say, test for DAC app. DAC is Disabled Adult Child. Because, if you get someone with intelligence that understands that, they're going to go, oh yeah, you're right. We can't take away your Medicaid. So, do you ever feel like you're juggling a few too many plates? So if you have any questions, you want to talk to me, call me. I don't charge you if you call me and you talk to me. Now, if you call me and you say, hey, I want you to file for SSI for my child, we're going to talk. And I do a flat fee. Never liked it when I worked for the attorneys and had to bill for every second of every day, I'm doing my own business, I can do it my way. I might not make as much, but I don't care. I'm happy.
And you work for people outside of Texas too?
Yeah, because SSI and SSDI are federal. Everybody's Medicaid's a little different.
I just don't know, as far as like the child support, I just thought when he turned 18, or he finished high school, we're through with getting child support, because quite honestly, I don't even want to mess with his dad anymore. So, but.
It's up to you. You got to look at the monetary
Well, I mean,
value.
It's about $2,000. He can't have more than $2,000 coming in every month, right?
Right.
Because he's only getting like now, like $1,000.
Okay, but even if he got $1,000 after 18, that's his money.
And he could still get child support?
No.
I mean,
That would be, if he was still getting $1,000 of child support.
because he turns 18 in January, so he'd still be in high school. So it would need to start.
Personally, I say find some money, get an attorney, go back to court, and get it for lifetime.
Even if he's in Texas, it doesn't matter what state. All of that's
Where do you live?
Arkansas.
Okay. Laws may be different in Arkansas. I don't know.
But his dad's in Texas.
It does in Texas.
It does in Texas, but
And our last decree when I took him back to court is Texas.
Texas. Well, in Texas, I know for sure.
That it can after.
It can after. I've been an expert witness in 3 divorce trials.
I believe it is in Arkansas too. I'm not sure. My brother, well, he's a special educator, but just the high school assistant principal, and he said yes, he sees this all the time. But I don't know. I don't even want to deal with it.
So how old's your child?
He's 16 and a half.
Okay, so when he's 18, right?
In January, not this January, but the next.
And how old do you think he'll live? How long will he live? 20, 40, 50, 60 years?
May, probably,
60.
Yeah.
Let's go with 60. Okay, $1,000 a month, $12,000 a year times 60. Do you want that money?
But I don't.
Or you
his
don't.
Dad, are you talking about his dad live?
No.
I don't think.
Your child.
Right. My child will, yes.
To get child support
Yeah.
for that long.
He's going to be mad.
For the rest of his life.
But what
Well,
if his
until the dad dies.
Till
Well,
dad dies.
until dad dies, if you've got a good attorney, they'll say,
He'll get.
you need a life insurance policy,
He
or you
does
need
say that now.
something.
That he would get help.
Yes.
All of his life. It does, like, it says that now.
Yep. So,
But it doesn't, it just says for the, until he's 18 or graduates, whichever comes first. Last, whichever comes last.
he can stay in high school till he's 22.
I know. Yeah, they
So if
can.
he stays in high school until he's 21 or 22,
Mhm.
then the child support will still.
If he's in Texas, it can continue for the rest of his life.
Life.
if he's in
We're in
school.
Arkansas, but we're crazy.
No, even if he wasn't in school, he's disabled.
But I would have to get an attorney to do
To
the,
modify your child support agreement. and
after
divorce.
18 or after the school?
Now,
Now,
now.
now,
No matter how old he is.
ASAP, before he's 18.
Yeah, we're
Well-
doing it this summer. She's already, we have to do about 9
So
months
I
before.
guess my question would be, I have to stop working, so I have really no income. I now have to hire an attorney to, get a trust and all that good stuff. I am planning to work once he turns 18, at least to, pay for that. Is it possible, or will there be any problems for me to do that, to get an attorney and modify the child support after 18?
He's disabled, he's just,
Right, it's just,
Just the sooner you do it, the better.
right, because if the child support has stopped, you're just going to have, oh, thank you. You're just going to have issues trying to, yeah.
It's better to go try to find some money somewhere before.
Yeah, or you can check with legal aid and see if they will take the case for you. And
They're starting in there in about 2 minutes, the profile.
I would
Okay.
like to say something before
Uh-huh.
we close. It's so important that all of you know that all of you and your ex-spouses or your current spouses do an estate plan
Yes,
before too long. Get them to do a will and estate plan and everything to protect the rights. Because if any of your adult children inherit because there is no will, they inherit through intestacy, it disqualifies them from everything you've worked hard to get them on.
Yeah.
Because it becomes their money, so. Even if it's just a holographic will, where you say, right now, everything I own, I leave to somebody, or I leave it in a testamentary special needs trust to my son, anything, just get something quickly. You just never know.
mhm.
And everything you've worked hard all these years to maintain and qualify for